If you watch the YouTube videos about Monica Reza's disappearance, they all tell the same story. Monica was about 30 feet behind. Hiker A signaled to turn here. She acknowledged it somehow. And then the next time he looked, she was gone. Well, some might tell the longer version of the story, that he went down 150 feet and waited for 5 minutes. And when she didn't show up, he went back up to the corner and started looking for her. But where does that story come from? Well, if you recall from part 1, I got the story, and I'm sure others got the timeline story from this video, which was posted on the Help Find Monica Facebook group page. So let's play this segment that talks about 30 feet and 150 feet and waiting 5 minutes. It's right here.
The hiker in front was ahead about 30 feet. Let her know that they were headed right, northbound along the trail. The hiker went down the trail about 150 feet where they had previously talked about cutting through to save some time. The hiker waited here for about 5 minutes but never saw Monica come around the bend. From here, he started shouting and heading back to point 3 where he had last seen her.
Okay, so there's the 30 feet behind, the 150 feet down the trail, waiting 5 minutes, information. But who created this video? It was posted on the Help Find Monica Facebook group page, but where did this video come from? Well, here is where it was posted. It was posted, like I said before, July 24th, a bit more than a month after Monica went missing. It was posted by the Facebook group creator, Terlyn Dang, but Terlyn's a woman and the voice on the video is a man, so she didn't create it, she just posted it. Who created it? If we go back a day on that Facebook group page, you'll see a guy by the name of Kalen Martin saying, I've been working on a video highlighting the morning route that they took in Monica's disappearance to share with the community. And he announced that on July 23rd, day before it got posted. So, yeah, July 23rd, he said he's working on it. July 24th, Terlyn posted it. Well, who are these people? Who is Terlyn and who is Kalen? Well, they're two of Monica's yoga friends. They all went to the same yoga studio, and it's essentially the yoga friends who organized and ran the Help Find Monica Facebook page and also organized and ran a lot of the volunteer search effort. Well, it's fair to ask how I know that they are all part of the yoga group, and there's a long explanation for how I know that. If you dig into all the links and stuff like I have, it's there, it's apparent, but I'll give you a really brief young rundown. So here is a page that has reviews of their yoga studio, and you can find all of the names that are relevant to the story. Here's Monica giving a review. Here's Kalen Martin, the guy that created the video. This is Hiker C. And down here it's Ben. He shows up in various places. And down here is Terlyn Dang. So they're all commenting and reviewing the same yoga studio, which exists at this address. And this is the web page for that yoga studio. And here is Hiker A, Ashwin Kumar. If you go back to the reviews, you can see Dr. Ashwin, his name is mentioned as the person who is running the studio. So that's Hiker A. This is the yoga studio. This is the Instagram page for the yoga studio. Here's Monica talking about her experience at it. This is a really nice video. I mean, they really do a good job of explaining how positive their experience is at the yoga studio. I don't want to disparage their beliefs or the yoga studio. It seems to help them and a lot of other people. So that's all good. I just want to show all of these connections just to, show why I believe that the Help Find Monica page was run by the yoga friends who are all followers of Ashwin, followers, even the right name, students. I'm not sure how you describe the relationship between a yoga guru and the people he teaches. Students, followers, I don't know. Just to show a couple more links between this yoga studio, Ashwin Kumar, Monica, the Help Find Monica group. Let's go to the Instagram page that's associated with the Facebook group. That's Help Find Monica Reza Instagram page. It's created by the same person, the Tara Lindang. On this day, July 25th, they posted a bunch of things. One of them was this one. It says we have 70 registered volunteered hikers, including hiker that was with Monica on June 2nd. Now, it's hard to see from this picture, but this is him here. Let's get a bigger version of that picture. I wonder if I can zoom in more. Yeah, that's him there. It's not a great shot, but I'm pretty sure it's him. So that he is listed as one of the people who's participated in the hike that day. Here's the text of that. There are more links on the Help Find Monica Reza Facebook group. Here are photos of a hike that he organized on October 20th, 2025. Today we walked in the footsteps of Monica, and here he is with another group of people, showing that group the hike where Monica disappeared. And lastly, here is the Meetup page for the hike that Monica went missing on, say June 22nd, 2025, hosted by Ashwin. There he is there. And here it is. It's him and his two guests. These other people may or may not have shown up later. We don't know. Some people suspect or wonder if Ben and his 4 guests were the 5 other hikers that showed up later. I don't think there's any evidence to support that, but it's an interesting idea. So yeah, I think the link between Ashwin, the hike, Monica, the Facebook page, Instagram page is pretty well established. Why should we care that the Help Find Monica group was run by Monica's yoga friends who are all followers of Hiker A? Well, as you can tell, everybody is telling the story that they told. So we really need to look into the motivations for telling that story and how much of it can we believe. Because if you recall from my part 2, I break down the story that was told in the video and show how, at least to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's not plausible. But why would the people who are her friends and care most about finding her post a story about her disappearance that doesn't hold water, at least to me? And the only things I can think of is that they were either given bad information or they wanted to craft a story that conveyed important details to help with searching, but also make their yoga teacher look less bad at taking Monica on a hike and then she goes missing. As you can see from the reviews on this page, they really like him and he's had a profoundly positive impact on their lives. So I can imagine there's a motivation to help him out and make him seem less bad. And by less bad, I mean his decisions and choices on the hike didn't contribute to Monica's disappearance in any way. So it makes sense to me that their loyalties could be divided between helping the searchers find their friend Monica and making sure blame doesn't land on the shoulders of their guru. But did they in fact do that? I don't know. Did they craft the video to help their guru? Or were they given bad information? Is there a combination? Is there any evidence that the story in the video is different than what was being told in the early days of the search? I spent a lot of time looking for any evidence that the story told in the early days is different than the story in the video, and I found a few pieces of information. The Help Find Monica page has been scrubbed of almost all information regarding what actually happened on the hike, and they rededicated it to just organizing volunteers. There's a bit of controversy over the posts that got deleted. That's a whole nother story. But I did find one comment on the Help Find Monica Facebook group that indicates or hints at a different story earlier in the search days. So here we are. This is on a comment on a post from July 2nd. The comment was from someone by the name of Jane Fontana, who, from reading all of her posts, looks like was a person who helped with the search but wasn't one of the guru friends. And I found this comment here. He was much more than 50 feet ahead, more like 10 minutes. So that certainly raises some eyebrows. Why would she say that? When did she say that? She said that on July 2nd, a couple weeks before the video was posted. All the other clues that the story told in the initial days is different than the story told in the video come from the Iceberatan discussion board. It's a discussion board for Southern California hikers who like to hike in the San Gabriel Mountains and areas nearby. There is a user on this discussion board called RH who participated in the searches in the early days, and he has some information that is very relevant to what we're looking for. Here's a comment that he made on October 21st. He says, initially, people heard her hiking partner say 30 yards, which would make some sense to lose a person. Later, he started saying 30 feet, which is insanely close. You don't have to yell to be heard 30 feet. Yet that was the info they first said, is that he yelled back to her when he reached the turn. So that's definitely a deviation from the story. Here's another post he made on October 22nd. Many of the people on this forum and others have spoken with subject A, or hiker A. He is one who has varied information slightly over the past months, and his behavior has turned off many of the best hikers and searchers in Southern California. I would have a tendency to trust his initial statements like 30 yards apart, and after the turn, he continued jogging for several minutes, rather than his statements weeks later that it was 30 feet and he only went 150 feet down the trail after the turn. It could be he's trying to make a mistake in judgment seem less egregious when members of the online community started casting suspicion upon him, same reason they turned off comments on the Facebook page. And lastly, here is a comment he made on May 11th, 2026. He said a lot of things on that day, which were really good. But specifically, the shortcut idea that keeps randomly popping up is a retcon myth. There was never any mention of any shortcuts by hiker A or C for the first few weeks. It was not until they released a video over a month after the disappearance when this was introduced. So these clues on Iceberatan and this one clue on the Facebook group do indicate, if we are to believe them, that the story told in the early days differs from the story told in the video, but it doesn't really answer the question, did the people who made the video create the facts in the video, or were they given bad information, or was it a combination? It kind of implies that hiker A himself was giving bad information to the people who made the video, but again, it's speculation. But I believe RH and I believe Jane Fontana that they weren't motivated to lie about what was happening or what was being told, and so I trust their statements, and that makes me not believe the story told in the video. What I find easier to believe and more plausible is that hiker A was much further ahead of Monica than what was told in the story. If that's true, how would that change things? Well, in the video, he only ran 150 feet down and waited 5 minutes and ran 150 feet back and started looking. Well, it takes about, 30 seconds to jog 150 feet. So that'd be 30 seconds down, wait 5 minutes, 30 seconds back up. So that's a total of 6 minutes of elapsed time since he last saw Monica. But if he had jogged much further down the trail, some number of minutes down the trail, and then waited 5 minutes, then there would be some number of minutes before reaching back up to the corner. And that makes a difference as to how far away Monica could have gotten before he started yelling for her. Those extra minutes of separation could have made all the difference between Monica hearing him shouting for her and not hearing him. Those additional minutes of separation also would have affected his physical search. I think in the video, if you're to believe it, once he returned to the corner, he searched about 200 yards west down the ridge and 125 feet south of the ridge. But with those additional minutes of separation, Monica would have been much further away from the corner, far enough away from the corner that his 200 yards west and 125 feet south wouldn't have been enough to find her. So you can see how different stories can paint different pictures. The story in the video puts hiker A just 30 feet in front of Monica, which is a kind of a normal separation for people who are jogging. He only goes down 150 feet and starts waiting for her. He waits 5 minutes, which seems weird to me, and then immediately starts going back and searching for her. This paints him in a better light than if he was running much further ahead and went minutes down the hill before starting to wait for her. So I could see why they would want one story instead of another story. Perhaps ironically, the different stories raise and answer different questions. For example, the only 30 feet away story raises the question, well, how did she possibly miss the turn if they were only 30 feet apart? But if they were much more than 30 feet apart, then that isn't a question that would even be raised. If he was out of view by the time Monica reached the corner, it is much easier to understand how she could have missed the turn. Also, if she was further away when people started shouting for her, that answers the question, how come she didn't hear them calling for her? The going down 150 feet and waiting story raises the question, well, why didn't he see Monica go through that open area while he was waiting there, like I demonstrated in part 2? But if he had run some number of minutes down the trail and didn't wait 150 feet down, then he wouldn't have been in position to see her go through that open area. To me, the version of the story where he's much further ahead is much more plausible. It has fewer mysteries, it answers more questions, but it also paints hiker A in a much poorer light. One of the things I wondered while making this video and researching for it is whether the initial search and rescue effort was affected by how the story changed over time. Of course, the search and rescue people, they were already done by the time the video came out, which came out on July 24th. The major effort had already completed, so that would not have influenced the official search and rescue effort. It potentially could have influenced volunteer searchers who wanted to do some searching after that video came out, and they based their choices on what was in that video. But actually, I think the biggest effect that video had, the video that was posted to Facebook, is that it raises mysteries, and people like speculating on mysteries. And speculation, of course, leads to YouTube videos, and there are many, many YouTube videos trying to answer the question of how could she have possibly missed the turn if she was only 30 feet away? How come that she couldn't hear them when they were shouting for her? And of course, mysteries lead to conspiracies, and conspiracies can go in all kinds of different directions. Is she a part of a group of scientists that are being killed for some reason? Did UFOs snatch her? Did some foreign government snatch her because she had, important secret information that they wanted? I think all these conspiracy theories really take energy away from what's actually important, that's finding Monica. I believe Monica's remains are still up there somewhere, Mount Waterman or Devil's Canyon or somewhere in the vicinity. My gut feeling is that she outpaced the initial search and then got into trouble on that afternoon. She fell into some crevice or under a log or something that hit her from the heat-sensitive detectors, and hopefully someday she'll be found. I plan to do some more searching in the coming weeks and into the summer, and I know other people plan to as well.